In Islam, sects originated over disputes over political succession and over points of law, and doctrinal differences only crept in much later. Sunni Islam, made up of these four rites, accounts today and in most periods of Muslim history for around about 90% of all Muslims. So Islam has been comparatively lucky in not being too divided by schism. 90% of Muslims are Sunnis. There is a small sect which originated right at the beginning of Islam called the Kharijites, to whom you will occasionally see allusions. Nowadays, there's only perhaps 500,000 of them left. Kharijites. A few villages in Algeria, and Oman is officially a Kharijite country. These are rigorists who originated for political reasons because they refused to accept the authority of the fourth caliph, Ali. They thought he wasn't pious enough, so they withdrew from him. In practice, you're very unlikely ever to meet any. Much more successful were the other great schismatic group in Islam, the Shia. That's the plural, the name of the denomination, a singular, one individual person from the Shia is called a Shi'i with an I at the end, sometimes partially anglicised to Shiites. Famous because the Shia are the prevailing denomination in Iran. They also account for about half of the population of Iraq, maybe a third of the population of Pakistan, the majority of the population of Azerbaijan. Those are the four places really where you'll find Shia. In the West, they're not particularly numerous. They have a few mosques in the United States and a handful of mosques in England, but they don't have an extensive diaspora. The point of dispute between the Shia and the Sunnis, again, is not basically doctrinal. It is to do with questions of legitimate succession to the Prophet. The Shia believe that Ali, the Prophet's son-in-law, should have succeeded him as temporal ruler of the Muslims following the Prophet's death. So we get this name Shia, which means the faction. The Shi'at Ali are the faction of Ali, the upholders of Ali's legitimate caliphate, i.e. succession to the Prophet. The Sunnis say, no, we believe that Abu Bakr, the Prophet's close friend and companion, was the legitimate first ruler, and he indeed became the first ruler. So, as you can see, it's not primarily a denominational split, it's to do with early politics, but as is quite frequent in the history of religions, an originally political split acquired a doctrinal colouring over time, and the Shia do have certain beliefs that are distinct from the beliefs of Sunni Muslims, most conspicuously in their concept of the source of authority in religion. As I mentioned, Sunni Muslims accept the Qur'an, the Hadith, and a few other things like this ijma' and qiyas as the sources of religious authority. The Shia say, no, we accept the Qur'an and we'll accept some of the Hadith as a secondary authority, but we're really more interested in the interpretations of the law as delivered by the Prophet's descendants through his daughter Fatima, who married the Caliph Ali. And so sometime in the 2nd or 3rd century of Islam, we find appearing a theory of infallibility. 12 imams, descendants of the Prophet, who were regarded as infallible, rather in the sense of contemporary papal infallibility, if you like, that every utterance and form of behaviour was guided by God and hence formed part of the Sunnah, was an authoritative source of law and doctrine. And this is the point at which the Shia depart doctrinally from Sunni Muslims. Sunni Muslims accept the Quran, the Hadith, and these lesser sources. The Shia accept the Quran and the utterances of the 12 Imams. The 12th Imam, a certain Muhammad al-Mahdi, disappeared. He went into a state of occultation. Again, one of these slightly uncomfortable Orientalist translations of the Arabic word ghaiba, which means disappearance. He just vanished. And according to mainstream Shia belief, he didn't die. He merely was occulted, entered the hidden realm, and he will appear as the eschatological saviour of the Shia and of the Muslim world at the end of time. He will be the Mahdi, the divinely guided saviour. And the mainstream Shia belief is that the hidden Imam, who is in the state of occultation, is in mystic communication with the appointed hierarchical leadership of the Shia Muslims. I mentioned that Sunni Islam doesn't have a hierarchy, doesn't like hierarchies, it's against the mentality. Shia Islam is more Christian in a sense, in as much as it has this idea of an ultimately infallible hierarchy inspired by God that mediates authority. Christianity's case, the church being the bride of Christ. In the case of the Shia, the hidden Imam being the sort of quasi-divine figure who inspires the living representatives of the denomination with infallible guidance. Also, the emphasis on the idea of a saviour at the end of time, much more important for the Shia than for the Sunnis, suggests that there's a parallel between Shiism and Christianity, which is perhaps interesting.